You want to know how you stack up? Do you want to know how you financially compare to your neighbors? I've got hard data we can look at, 5 key points to see where we stand in comparison to the average American. They say comparison is the thief of joy, so we're not going to get too hung up on these numbers, but it's hard to tell how you compare to other people unless you look at hard data, because some people, you may know some of these people, on the outside they look like they're doing so great, they've got fancy new cars and blah, blah, blah. But what you don't see are their credit card statements or the fact that they have no savings. My parents, when I was growing up, had a saying they would use to describe those type of people. They were people who had fur coats and no underwear. So let's take a look at hard data, see where we stack up, and go from there. Do you have a little piggy bank where you keep your savings, or do you have a savings account? If you do have a savings account and you have more than $5,000 in it, yes, you are doing better than half of the American public. Now, it's very interesting to consider as well that 35% of the American public has less than $1,000 in a savings account right now. And we know from data that's been coming out over the last few months that savings balances are going down, 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 because inflation's going up, 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 and people are dipping into their savings just to afford their everyday necessities. So if you still have more than $5,000, you are doing better than the average American. And have you thought about retirement? I mean, heck, us Americans, we don't retire. We just work our whole lives away. But if you are thinking about retirement and you do have a 401k, if you are between the ages of 34 and 44, the average person in your age group has $36,000 in their retirement account. Now, if you're a little older, like me, maybe not wiser, but older, nonetheless, between the age of 45 and 54, you have an average of about $61,000, not $61,000 in your 401k retirement account. But hey, if you're in the Senate or Congress here in the United States, you don't have to worry about that because you've got the best retirement plan money can buy, and the taxpayers, they're going to foot the bill for you. And what are you going to do when an unexpected expense comes your way? Maybe a water heater, a new washing machine, refrigerator. Stuff happens in life. Only 50% of Americans have an emergency fund. And of that 50% that do have an emergency fund, the average balance is about $2,000. I hope you are in the former group, because as we know, unfortunately, stuff does happen. We're going to talk about credit card debt and net worth next, but first, something very important. Thank you. Yes, you, whether you're average, above average, below average, it doesn't matter. I'm glad you're here from wherever you are in the world. You're always welcome in Ron's basement. Your time's valuable, and it's an honor to me that you've decided to join me. If you get some entertainment, some value out of this, if I compare from above average, you can subscribe right here. Give the video a thumbs up. Now let's get back to the meat of the matter. I think you'll find this next statistic astounding. Credit card debt. Do you use your credit cards to pay your expenses? If you do, and you have a credit card balance of $6,500, guess what? Your average. That's the average credit card balance of a house in the United States. And it is growing. I find that astounding. If you do anything from a financial perspective, always pay off your credit cards first and foremost. The interest rates on those are crazy, like 20% now. The big issue is that in the United States, people are using their credit cards to pay for their everyday living expenses because inflation is through the roof. Credit card balances continue to balloon. Let me read you an interesting statistic. By the third quarter of this year, total credit card debt in the United States stood at $925 billion, a $38 billion jump from the first quarter, according to data from, yes, Jerome Powell in the United States Federal Reserve. And just how rich are you? Come on, be honest with me. The final thing we're going to talk about is net worth. The average net worth in America is $91,000. Net worth is calculated by taking all of your assets, your cars, your house, your investments, your cash, your cats, your dogs, whatever you want to assign a value to, and deducting from that all of your debt. That is your net worth. Now, if you're between the age of 45 and 54, the average net worth is a little bit higher at about $165,000. Again, that data came from our friends at the United States Federal Reserve. Who doesn't like to know how they stack up against their neighbors, against the average American? I know I do. They do say comparison is the thief of joy, but hey, we want to know where we stand. Now, speaking of stacking up, they forgot to put the sixth data point in there, and that's the amount of gold, silver, precious metal mining stocks owned by the average American. You know why it's not in there? Because the average American, they don't own any. It's probably 1% at the very, very most. And we've talked about this ad nauseum on this channel over the last year. The average Joe, I mean, who do you know personally who's also an enthusiast about silver, gold, and the precious metal mining stocks? I have like one friend, my friend Patrick. Thanks for watching, Patrick, who I know likes to stack silver and is into precious metals. I know a lot of people, and I don't know anybody else. That's why we have to come here, because we are a sliver of the population. And don't forget the exciting part about that. When the rest of the herd, right, the other 500 people, because we are just 1 in 500, when just a little bit, 1 or 2 or 3 of the rest of the herd decides to join us over at the gold and silver watering hole, it will be like a tsunami of new money coming into the sector. Nonetheless, I hope you stack up well against the average American. I hope you have a great day, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Basement, live on the log flume with Lily. Lily, say hi.